Uber and Lyft both have threatened to shut down in the state of California, which has led many drivers and even riders trying to figure out what else they could do if Uber and Lyft actually do have to shut down because of reclassifying its drivers as employees instead of independent contractors. Well, two startups who are looking at it very differently may have the answers, and that's what we're talking about right now. Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's updates to what's going on, news, tips and tricks for passengers and drivers, or what actually happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Also, make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. Uber and Lyft almost did shut down in California a couple of weeks ago because of a court order telling them that they had to reclassify their drivers as employees instead of independent contractors. And so they were going to shut down and came very close to actually doing it, but were able to manage getting a court reprieve, which said, as long as you follow these set of circumstances, you can continue operating as is. But they were going to shut down, and it would have cost hundreds of thousands of drivers the ability to earn their money, as well as millions of potential riders who are looking to get from point A to point B and possibly point C. So it raised two major questions, and that was one from drivers and one from riders. First, the drivers were asking, how am I going to be able to get out there and make money if Uber and Lyft shut down and I am a driver? And then the second one is for passengers, and that would be, how am I going to be able to get around without being able to order a Uber or Lyft? So because of an amazing thing called technological innovation, two startup companies may have answered those questions and take a radically different approach to it. Now, this article right here is from CNN Business, and it's titled Startups Race to Show What Alternatives to Uber and Lyft Could Look Like for California Drivers, as well as riders who are looking for different options besides Uber and Lyft, and also what it could look like for other states who are looking at similar legislation when it comes to AB5, like New York State, New Jersey, Massachusetts, I believe Illinois is in there, Washington, and other states that could potentially look at this, but are waiting to see what will happen in California throughout this whole battle that they're having. So I'm going to read a few things from this article. If you want to read the whole thing, link will be in the description below so you can check this out as well. So it says, with hundreds of thousands of Uber and Lyft drivers facing uncertain futures in California, two startups hope drivers will take a chance on their alternative approaches to the ride-hail business. Uber and Lyft, which have built up massive fleets of drivers by treating them as independent contractors, are in the midst of a heated legal battle over how its drivers are classified in the state. Both recently threatened to shut down their service in the state rather than comply with a court order to reclassify their drivers as employees. The future of these workers is uncertain, as a new worker classification in California known as AB5 went into effect on January 1st. In late August, the ride-hailing companies were granted a temporary reprieve from complying with the law, and they continue to fight it, applying to the drivers on their platforms. Uber and Lyft support a referendum on the ballot in November that seeks them to be exempt from the law. In the meantime, some startups see a chance to show alternative models to the behemoth ride-hail platforms, including what it's like for drivers to fully control how and to whom they provide a service. Now, the first company you may have heard of already, it's called Dumpling, and they're in the grocery and shopping sector, but they're going to get into ride-hailing and have a pretty good business opportunity here. So it says empowering gig workers as small business owners. That's the promise of a new app by Dumpling, a Seattle-based startup originally launched in 2018 to create an alternative to on-demand grocery delivery services like Instacart. Workers that use Dumpling's platform are effectively small business owners. Dumpling shares information with workers about how to set up a sole proprietorship or LLC and offers a suite of tools, including a personalized website, business coaching, and a pre-funded credit card to shop orders to help them run their own businesses. Dumpling charges workers a setup fee and offers both free and paid monthly subscriptions for access to the tools. There's also additional fees such as credit card processing fee. Workers have the freedom to choose their clients, set their own prices, go to a range of stores for one order, and build a direct relationship with clients who can request the same shopper in the future. Now, in addition to grocery, Dumpling, which has raised $10 million in funding, including $6.5 million since the beginning of the pandemic, wants to aid drivers in starting ride businesses with a separate app called Dumpling Drive. With everything going on in California, there has been a big uptick in interest of people looking for an alternative, Shapiro said, noting that Drive is now available nationwide and is offering the first 60 days free of cost. After that, it will charge a $20 monthly subscription. Now, because Dumpling is open nationwide already, are you either driving or shopping with Dumpling? Comment below, let me know some of the ins and outs and if you enjoy it. And so going on, it says, while Uber and Lyft popularized a very different use case for consumers, which is the ability to get a ride on a moment's notice at any time, Shapiro said, the Drive service intends to help drivers go after a subset of the ride-hail market, which he referred to as scheduled rides, such as daily commutes, appointments, and more. Drive workers who set their own prices must build up a client base directly with customers. Drivers are assigned a unique ID code, which they can give to potential riders. If a customer wants to book a ride through Drive, they go to the app, input the code, and request or schedule a ride directly from a specific driver. On Dumpling Grocery, consumers can search for nearby workers with a zip code, and this feature will be added to Drive as more workers join. So this first company, Dumpling, takes the independent contractor route, just like Uber and Lyft, but it gives drivers much more freedom and much more flexibility as well as control over themselves instead of the company itself. So they're able to go online when and where they want. They're able to set their own fares, and they're also able to set up a clientele, which gives them the ability to have repeat customers. Now, the only drawback with that is that you actually have to be engageful. You have to be a person who is going to be willing to do that. And it may take some time for you to build up your clientele base instead of just going online and waiting for a ride like Uber and Lyft. So that could be a drawback for a few, but anybody who's really personable, who really enjoys being with others, and just has a great time driving, you may be able to build your clientele up quick and make some money. Now, before I get to the second startup, if you enjoy this type of content and want more of it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so it notifies me as to what type of content you'd like to see. And also, if you'd like to support the channel more, you can actually become a channel member by hitting the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button, or click the link in the description below and help support the channel that way. So now let's look at the second company, which takes on a completely different approach when it comes to how it classifies its drivers, and that is actually employees instead of independent contractors. And this model actually looks pretty promising when it comes down to it because they offer a lot of flexibility when it comes to how their drivers are online and when they can drive. So as a person who enjoys that freedom and flexibility, that actually is looking pretty promising. So let's get right to it. And it says, on the flip side, Dallas-based rideshare startup Alto is gearing up to enter California by late October, beginning with LA. The startup, which launched in January 2019, classifies its drivers as employees, which Uber and Lyft have long fought against because they would need to offer them certain benefits. Alto has focused on offering an upscale ride service focused on hospitality and safety. As employees, its drivers are fingerprinted and drive company-owned vehicles, which are monitored and cleaned regularly. As another differentiating factor, Alto offers healthcare benefits and pays hourly wages to drivers. It goes, the ongoing labor dispute in California coupled with the continued health crisis has created a sense of urgency to expand Alto outside of Texas, according to Will Coleman, Alto's founder and CEO. We're currently getting more inbound interest from California drivers organically than in cities we're currently operating in, Coleman told CNN Business. Some of Alto's driver employees work fewer than 10 hours per week and have significant flexibility in choosing when they want to work, whereas others work full-time, are guaranteed a certain number of hours in exchange for open availability. We want to show consumers there really is an alternative, Coleman added. Now, Alto being the second startup and a potential competitor against Uber and Lyft already have that employee model in hand. And I would love to know exactly how that is going to look when they talk about significant flexibility. So if you drive for Alto, comment below, let me know some of the ins and outs on Alto, its flexibility, and its overall effectiveness when it comes down to being an employer. Comment below and let me know. And for anybody else out there, what do you think about these two companies and how they approach things? One being Dumpling and taking the much more independent contractor route, or Alto, which takes the employee route and gives you that significant flexibility. Comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Now that's the end of this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And also, again, if you'd like to become a channel member, you can by hitting that join button or the link in the description below. It would be greatly appreciated and be able to help me bring out better and better content as we go forward. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers, your delivery drivers, and your shoppers. And we'll see you next time.